I will see if like you're sitting there with your buddy or your girlfriend or whatever doing the test, because it'll look exactly like. So do your own work, but use the resources that you need to answer the questions. I think there's 25, well, I've got it right in front of me. So there's 25 true and false. And people hate true and false. Generally, I don't do it. I didn't do it to make you hate them. But so what I would suggest that you do to study for the true and false is they're going to come almost directly from the PowerPoint, not the PowerPoint, the lectures that were delivered by the guest speakers. So if there's anything you should review, it would be those. Okay. Going through the PowerPoint slides from the chapters, probably not helpful, but definitely the lectures. And I would say that those are pretty, see, I guess I lectured on chapter 11. So me for one and the guest speakers for the other three. So I would say the true and false are pretty, pretty equally split between those. Then I'm going to ask some very specific questions from the health insurance presentation by Becky Byrne. Let me back into this in a second. Yep. And then really, I mean, the other things that we worked on was we did an investment tracking worksheet, which was due Sunday night, I guess, for the chapter 11, right? We did a life insurance needs assessment. Like, oh my gosh, my husband and I raised 2 kids. If I died, would he be able to raise our kids and send them to college on his own? Probably not. So we need to assess what it would look like if I died tomorrow. What would his resources be? And what would their needs be? And then the difference between here's what we've got and here's what we need is what we need to purchase for a face value for life insurance, right? So we're definitely going to need to look at one of those. And then in chapter 9, I may be getting 9 and 10 backwards. Sorry if I am. Which one was health insurance? Was that 9 or 10? 9. Okay.
9.
Thank you. So in the health insurance, I do want to have a conversation. There was a little bit of a struggle. In fact, not too terribly many people got it correct. The difference between co-insurance or copay and a deductible, and setting up that chart where I can give you a bunch of facts and you can plug it in and say, hey, this is how much I'd have to pay. This is how much insurance has to pay. Yeah, so those are kind of my goals tonight. So I'm going to start by saying you need to review the guest speaker lectures. The next thing I'm going to do is ask what specific questions you have. And then if there's nothing huge and compelling coming from you directly, then I'm just going to launch into looking at those 3 things I just mentioned. Oh, I'm sorry. And the last thing is you're absolutely, and I told you this in the first chapter, and here it is. We'll cut that was going to come back through the entire class, is the use of present value and future value tables to make decisions. And I feel like some of you still maybe struggle with that. Maybe not people that are here right this moment, but I'm recording this too. Can each of you pull up your present value? Why don't you pull up 2 things for me? Pull up present value, future value tables, and I do have them on Moodle if you want to just pull them off of the review page. And then also I'd like you to, oh my gosh, I just drew an incredible blank. Oh, no, here, I know. To pull up an investment tracking worksheet. Okay, so we're in the area that says reviews, tests, and finals. And the present value, future value tables are, you can pull the ones up out of the back of your book, or you can use, the heck are those? Right here. Test 3 PV, future V. Is that the tables or just an announcement? No, that's just an announcement. So pull them up out of your book. Can everybody do that pretty easily? Okay, so do that. And then also, about halfway down that review page is something called investment tracking practice. So let's start with those. He says, good luck.
Thank you.
So I think once you get the, I mean, just, you know, you're kind of doing that in the background, but let's just start with this since it's up. So I believe this was from chapter 11. We just did this weekend, and there were some people did absolutely fine, and there was just a little bit of struggle. So okay, does everybody have the worksheet out? All right, cool. So here's the scoop. I am, let's just assume for ease of effort, these were all purchased on December 31st. And now I'm at the end of 2023. And I want to know, first off, I want to know what I have. So I had an investment of $31,402, right? Over a time period, some 2013, some 2014, some 2018. I want to plug in my latest market value. I want to figure out cumulatively what I have yielded. And then I want to look at my annual return. So how would you approach this? Flo, where would you go? How would you start this?
Oh, the first thing that I will do is I'm going to Yahoo Finance.
Yep.
Before I do that first, okay, before I do that, I need to take the original investment value and I divide it by the number of shares to get the price of one share. And then from there,
you can do that. You don't have to, but that's fine. I have no problem doing that. Let's see per share acquisition cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. Yeah, do the math there. Let's start there. Okay. Everybody go get me a per share price for Oracle, Netflix, and P&G.
Okay. That one will be 9.1 per share.
I got 41 bucks. 2,050 divided by 50, right?
Oh, the 50 shares, okay.
Okay, and so now when you go do the latest market value, you can either plug in, like the way that Glow's working it, you can plug in the per share value that it closed at today, We're pretending like today's December 31st. Or you can plug in the per share price times the number of shares. So which do you want to do? Chocho, what do you want to do?
I wanted to do the latest market value times per share value times the total share.
Okay, so let's all do that. Total. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes to pull up what you think you need to pull up and to get that filled in. Anybody have questions yet?
No.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so Oracle is going for 95.44 a share. Netflix is 329.02. And Procter and Gamble. Okay, so first question is, when you look at these two numbers, I invested 31,000 and now I've got fair market value of 91.6. Does that necessarily mean that each component went up?
No,
No, like one of those stocks could have dropped and the other two could have made up for that, right? Okay, so what we want to do, or what we should be doing with our investments, is calculating our annual return over time. So some things are going to be riskier, so you would expect a higher annual return. And some things like Procter and Gamble's, like, you know, what, 120-year-old company, right? You wouldn't be expecting, you would be, it doesn't have a lot of risk, so the yield's going to be lower. Okay, so let's see, Gabe, how do I calculate cumulative return? So I want the number over the entire time period that I've owned Oracle. What percentage has it gone up? Anybody want to jump in?
I got the latest market value minus the original
So you have to open your parentheses
parentheses, yes.
and find the difference between, you really want to find out how much you've made. Well, how much I've made is the difference between what it's at today and what I bought it at. And then close your parentheses. The number in there shows you how much it's gone up, right?
Yes. Then divided by the original investment amount.
So the amount that it's gone up divided by what I originally put into it is going to give me a percent. So, and you might have to format these as percentage, because otherwise it would come up 1.33 or something. So it's like, dang, that's gone up 133%. Can you assess from what's up here whether that's good or bad? I think you have to annualize it. I mean, because what if it had taken 100 years to go up 132%? Right? So to annualize something, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to give you all a chance to do this. And then I'm going to leave this one and let you finish working it on your own. And we're going to move on to the next thing. How are you going to annualize that? In other words, it's gone up 132.8%. How long has it taken for it to do that?
yes.
It's been 10 years, so you divide it by 10, right?
Yep. Okay, I'm going to put in check figures for you really quickly here. So if you want to write down these 3 annual returns, those are your check figures, and I'm going to have you guys go work this on your own time. Okay. All right. Any last minutes here? Okay. Next thing, as far as this goes, you have to be able to read this page. Procter and Gamble, PG is the what? Just shout it out if you know what that is. PG is called the
Indicator.
symbol. Yeah. Where is it traded? What stock exchange?
The New York Stock
New York.
Exchange.
Yep, great. It closes, of course, the market closes Eastern time. What does this tell us about what happened today to Procter and Gamble?
It's increased by 0.18%.
Yep, 0.8, it went up 0.18% or 28 cents. Yep. What's the range that this has been at in the last year? It's been as low as 52. I'm sorry, it's been as low as $122.18. It's been as high as 163.71. Same thing for days range. So it actually had some fluctuation today, a couple dollars. Volume, what does this mean?
The amount of shares.
How many shares were traded today? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's traded on the average day? 6.4 million. What do stock analysts say about, oh gosh, I was way off. I said it was a 120-year-old company. It's a 190-year-old company. Wowzer. What do stock analysts say about the price of it at $156? Are you paying a good amount, too much, not enough? Overvalued means they're saying like, hey, it's the earnings history does not support this price. Okay, market cap. Market cap stands for, you should probably go look at the lecture one more time on chapter 11. Market cap stands for market capitalization. So this little B right here tells you it's 368 billion, 368.852 billion. So what does that say? 368.852 billion. Oh, why is it doing that? Oh, come on, you can write this number. Really? I can't write that number in Excel. 368,852,000,000. Boom, 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 boom. Weird. Okay. Can everybody write 368,852,000,000 down on a piece of paper, please? Without this weird plus 11, I must have some formatting in there that I don't know what I've done. Okay, so you got that number, right? Market capitalization, people tend to look at that and go, oh, that's a pot of money sitting somewhere. No, it's not. That is simply a reflection. So the market identifies companies as either low cap, mid cap, or high cap. And that means what's the total capitalization? So if you divide $368 billion by the number of shares that are outstanding, which we should be able to find that too. Then you will, so let me back up and say that again. This number comes from the current market value times the number of shares that are out there. So I can you just look at that and like do mental math, like about how many shares are out there?
I think if you took the total market cap divided by the price of the share, because the market cap is the value of all the shares,
Yeah, it sure is. Good.
right? That would give you the number of shares total.
Yeah, so it's like 2.1 billion or something.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing. I mean, we could spend a whole class looking, every single thing in here is just full of like so many charts your head just spins. But we're not going to do that. And I don't really want my head to spin. It's 6:30 at night. But this is, I mean, if you're like interested, you can look at this stuff all night long. Okay, but last thing, we're only going to be really responsible for what's on this first page. This is a really important ratio that I talked about in the lecture. First off, what does it stand for?
Price earnings ratio.
Yeah, price to earnings. Okay, of everything sitting on this page, what do you think the price is?
156.35.
Yep, that's what the price of the stock is for today. And tomorrow it'll be something completely different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the price to earnings ratio is a math problem. It's price divided by this number right here, earnings per share, which is a whole nother number that needs explaining. So price is pretty straightforward. What's the market value right at this particular moment? The market's closed. So we just say, hey, when everybody went home from Wall Street today, it was at 156.35. The EPS, earnings per share, is an accounting calculation that takes the net income of the company, which we call earnings, divided by the number of shares outstanding, which we just estimated at about 2.1 billion. So earnings per share is really, and again, it's not money, it's not dollars sitting in a bank account somewhere. Earnings per share represents the net income of the company from the last quarter divided by the number of shares out there. So for each share you own, what earning potential does the company have? Doesn't mean that's what you're going to get, because that's called dividends, what you get as a stockholder. This ratio, you guys, the price of the stock divided by its ability to generate earnings, is called a PE ratio. And this is an indicator of how fairly priced the stock is. In eras like when Google and Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon and, you know, were all kind of coming of age, say 20 years ago, their PE ratios would be in the hundreds because they weren't earning any money. They hadn't monetized anything, but everybody wanted them. So their price was sky high. Okay. That's crazy. That's called speculation. And it's like, there's no earnings history in this company that explains why their price, why they're selling at Tesla was selling at $1,000 a share, $1,200 a share. And they weren't even meeting their quarterly projections for their car releases, more or less earning a profit. Do you see what I'm saying? Average PE ratio fluctuates depending upon what kind of industry you're in. But like, well, and I have to validate my own train of thought here. I think when the market's just calm and everything's calm, that the PE ratio should be about 15 to 20. I may be well off here. Okay, so the current Standard & Poor's 500, that's the biggest 500 companies being traded, is at 22.23. Let's see. Oh, look, a chart. Historical PE ratio. I don't know if I can blow these up. This doesn't really 100% matter right this second. The point is, sorry, I can get down the rabbit hole on this stuff. The point is when PE ratios are high, that indicates speculation and that stocks are way overvalued. They might not be. I mean, Facebook ended up monetizing their platform and made everybody $1 bazillion. But in the old model of, boy, you have to have earnings to be worth something, a high PE ratio indicates something's trading at more than it's valued at. And a reasonable PE ratio says to your average, quote unquote, Joe Plumber going to, fund his 401k or her 401k, like, oh, this is a pretty reasonable buy. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. The next thing I want to look at is, and probably the only other thing we're going to look at is this. Ariana wants to retire in 12 years and she wants to save $240,000. And I use this verbiage on the test exactly. Show all your work. Write out the formula first and identify what you're solving for and clearly identify what the factor is. So the first question is, how much should she invest in one lump sum if she thinks she can earn 9%? So Braden, can we start by just writing out the formula for present value and future value? Do you remember that algebraic formula? Anybody? This is literally your takeaway from this class. Am I trying to, does she know the future value or does she know the present value?
She knows the future value.
She knows what she wants in 12 years.
Yeah. So
Present value or future value equals what times what?
Principal times the factor.
Very good. You have to write this formula out every single time you work one of these. So Chocho correctly identified that she understands, or we know what the future value is. I guess I should write future value. Is this an annuity problem or a principal problem?
Principal problem.
Yes, it is. Do we know what the principal is?
No.
No, so that's our X, right? Go find the factor.
12 years, yeah,
Yep,
at a rate of, what would you say, 9%?
yep. You guys can still see the screen, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, what is the factor?
I got 2.8127.
Do I have a second on that from anybody? Hello? Anybody get that same number? Do you guys know which table to look at? Okay, Riley got it, good. Gabe and Glow and Braden, do you know which table you're looking at?
yeah. Oh, you want 9% for 12 years, right?
Right, did you get the 2.8127?
Yeah, I see it there.
So if I want to isolate the X, I've got to divide both sides by that number, right? So that's pretty encouraging. If I put this away today, I'm gonna have 240,000 bucks when I retire. My personal dilemma would be, where am I gonna get $85,327 today? Okay, so for most people, or for a lot of people, let me restate that. It's a rare situation where you're like, oh gosh, I want $250,000 in 12 years. What do I need to put away today? For most of us, the question is this: I want that much in 12 years. How much do I need to put away every year? And then in my little world, I would translate that to how much do I need to put away every paycheck, right? So I would divide by 24 because I'm paid twice a month. And the math is a little bit different because it will compound more quickly if I'm putting it away more quickly, but you get the point. Okay. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to leave it to you to do. Is this a present value or future value problem? Is it principal or annuity? Where do you get the factor? Okay, the last one's a little bit more interesting. So she's sitting right now with $50,000. Her grandpa just passed. And she's like, she's found a 12-year CD, certificate of deposit, where she can earn 5%. Okay, so that's just one chunk of money, 50 grand. She wants to put away 12 years at 5%. She still wants the $240,000 when she gets out there. So the first thing you have to do is figure out how much is that 50 grand going to be down the road, and then subtract that out in the future from the 240. And then go up and do what we did here. I'm going to leave you with this because I have one more thing I want to run by you. But please, 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 there's like, I got 2-3 minutes right now if you want to ask a question about this. So it's no purpose in me just sitting up here going blah, blah, blah if you don't understand. Flo, Gabe, Riley, Braden. Can't really see your face, Braden, so I don't know if you know what's going on. Go ahead, please.
So do you take the 240,000 and subtract that by that 50,000?
Well, she's got 50,000 now.
Yeah.
And the 240 is 12 years in the future. So what do you have to do with the 50,000?
Probably divide it.
No, you got to figure out what it is in the future. So you got to write the same formula again.
Oh, okay.
And with the 50,000, is that the present value or is that the future value?
That would be her present value.
present
Yeah,
value.
that's today, right?
Yeah.
So I know what I have today. So I'm trying to find the future value. I know what the principal is because I've got it. And you need to go find the factor. So then once that 50,000 is going to be, you know, a shit ton of money 12 years in the future. So whatever that number is in the future, you get to subtract that from the 240. And then you just basically work the same problem we did here. But with whatever that much smaller number is, because she's going to have a bunch of money towards that, right?
Oh, yes.
Got it, Glow?
I'm just calculating.
Oh, gosh, that's unique. Okay. So this that we just loaded is here. And you should finish at. There's also a review right here. That you should look at, obviously, hence the word review. And this is basically just kind of what I've gone through. You need to review the guest speaker recordings. I gave page numbers for really good summaries in each of the chapters. But my disclaimer is that those are hard copy book page references. And what I'm learning in this new world of ebooks, which I've only been working on probably 3 years now, or 4 years maybe, is that often the page numbers aren't the same. So you would have to look for the summary, you know, and I gave you the names of what they're called. One's called a summary, one's called planning over a lifetime, protecting your property. So you have to look for those. We did this looking at a stock page. We did this pulling up a stock quote. We worked on this, the inventory worksheet. Okay, so I would take a look at this, but this really reinforces what we did tonight. The only thing that we really didn't get to, let's see where the heck's that. Is this guy. I think that, okay, so what I've got, again, this is in my book. On pages, in the book, like in the, just the meat of the text, right? There's a, it's Ethan. And it's just part of the text. It's teaching you how to use this worksheet. But so what it does is it talks about Ethan and Natalie. They've reviewed their budget. And it's like, dang, if Ethan dies tomorrow, what's Natalie going to need to raise the 2 kids on her own? And it gives a bunch of data that lets you fill this in. There may not be 3 time periods. In their life, there is. It's while she's raising the kids, while the kids are in college, and when the kids are out of college and she's on her own. But that may or may not be pertinent. If my husband and I did this together right now, we'd only have 1 period because our kids are long gone. So, you know, it's not always 3 periods. And then you add all these up and make sure that anything that they need goes in this area. And then I come to a number. You know, whatever. Okay. Then I go down here and it's like, okay, so now Nathan's died. Or Ethan's died, Natalie's alive. What's she gonna have? Okay. I think in the one that we had to do for homework, a lot of you put in, gosh, I can't remember exactly. You put in, all that goes in here is the person that's trying to figure out how much life insurance to buy is dead. So his or her salary is dead with them. What is the remaining person's social security benefits? What's the remaining person's income? What's the remaining person's pension? Okay. And like say in Natalie's life, she's going to make so much a year while the kids are at home. You know, I'm going to make $80,000 a year when the kids are at home, but when the kids leave home, I want to up my career. And then now I'm retired. Right? And then you multiply it by the number of years. So when that's all said and done, she's gonna, you know, have earned 800,000 bucks and they've got 100 grand in the bank. So I look at that and it's like, oh my gosh, she needs $1,050,000. We're gonna have 900,000. That's barely worth doing it, but we need to get 150 grand of life insurance. You should work through this problem of Ethan and Natalie Murphy. Okay, and again, I'm not sure where the pages are for you guys, but in my book, that's where it is. And then the answer's in there. What else you got? Anything else you need to know? Do you feel like you have stuff to work on? Okay, I would definitely spend time making sure that you know what's in the PowerPoint, or sorry, in the guest lectures. I know you all did your assessments, so I saw that you had watched them. But they're just chock full of great information, and that's what I'm going to be testing on the true and false. Okay. So let's see. So it's Friday. No, not Friday. Wednesday. I'm not going to time it. Small. When is the test exactly? 8 AM to 11 PM on Wednesday, is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, great. So I'll open it up, you know, basically before I go to bed on Tuesday night, and then I will shut it when I go to bed on Wednesday night after 11. And I will have it graded. And then really all you've got left is chapter 12. It starts Friday, right? And, you know, same, listen to lectures. You've got 2 pieces of homework due on this because I'm not testing over it. And then you've got your final paper. And I've got 3 choices. And it's due the Sunday night before finals week actually starts at 11 PM. So rather than, I don't know, have a paper hanging over you during finals week, I have it due the night before finals week, so you can just get her done. And then you submit it here. Okay. All right, well, it was good seeing you guys, although I've been mostly talking to little black boxes, which is one of the many joys of teaching online. But good luck, study hard. I appreciate that this is not an easy class online, so good job, you guys. And we will probably not see you again. So gosh, have fabulous lives and just like finish strong in the class. Okay. All right. Bye.
Hi, thank you, Lisa.
You bet.